Going on, ladies and gentlemen? So while the international break is still on, while the national games are still happening, we are also playing football tomorrow, and we're playing against Düren. Now, I'm not even going to pretend like I've seen a single Düren game, of course, but the interesting thing about tomorrow's game, first of all, is a cup, the DFB Pokal. But the very interesting thing in my eyes is the expected lineup, because obviously, as I just mentioned, we have a bunch of players that have been at internationals, that have been playing, the international games. So just from that perspective, you want to give them a rest. You want to give the starters a rest, or the starters that played for the national teams a rest, and that's kind of where our squad comes into play. And it really shows, like, before the season started, or even after the season started, we didn't really have much of a squad, but now we have a squad where you can play our second team. Now, the expected 11 has been published by Kicker and Build, and they're pretty much all the same, honestly. Very similar to what I probably line up as well, with Nubel in goal, which can be very interesting. Obviously, the keeper that joined Bayern to kind of take over from Neuer eventually. I still think it was probably a very bad move, because Neuer's not going anywhere for the next 3 to 4 to 5 years. So for me personally, a very bad move, considering he was already the starter for Schalke. But he is obviously very highly regarded, a very big talent, and it's kind of going to be his time to show how good he is, at least in Bayern colours, So then we move on with Buonasera, who, if you're following his, I think, Instagram, he's very much learning how to speak German, which is good to see. But he's going to be playing obviously as a right back, and it's going to be his first game at a Bayern, which I think is going to be a great team to play against. Kind of shows attacking prowess against a team that is obviously significantly weaker than our team, even our second team, our third team, I guess, if you want to call it that, or second team, whatever you want to call the squad that will play tomorrow. So just from that perspective, I think it's going to be a great game. He's going to be able to integrate with some of the teammates. Of course, there's not going to be the regular teammates, but with some of the team. And he's going to be able to get some minutes, get accustomed to how we play, or how we like to play. And I think it's going to be a perfect opportunity for him to prove how good he is. Then in defense, we've got Boateng and Javi. Again, I'm just talking about the expected lineup here from Kicker. I very much like that as well. Obviously, Boateng not playing for the German national team, and Javi not participating in the Spanish national team. So both of them are going to have... are going to be up for it. Obviously, Boateng, we've seen his quality last season, and Javi, whenever he comes in the Super Cup as well, we see his qualities, not just obviously in an attacking phase, but also in obviously a defensive phase. So I'm very happy that both of them are likely going to play. And then Davis is playing as well as a left back. So that's really going to be our back four, with Marc Rocha in midfield, which I'm very much looking forward to. Marc Rocha, obviously, I'd say probably our standout signing actually, no, I can't say that. A standout signing in the second half of the transfer window. In the first half, obviously, we can't forget to talk about Sané, and maybe if you want to talk long term as well, you don't forget about Kwasi. But Marc Rocha, probably a standout signing for in the second half, and the last day of the transfer window, I guess if you want to call it that. Very much looking forward to him. I think he's gonna dictate that midfield very, very well, and I'm just very much interested in that and seeing how he performs. Obviously it's not quite the same when you don't have all the other when you don't have too many first team team members playing alongside you. You only have a few. But just get used to how we like to play. Get used to the ideas that Flick wants a team to incorporate. Even if it doesn't really work out all out, excellent tomorrow, it's just gonna be like one of those okay, I'm learning on the job kind of thing, which I think is a great against the opponent as well. I think it's a great thing to be able to have, especially considering that we have, I think, 7 or 8 games in the next 20 days, 30 days. We have a crazy amount of games, and that's not going to slow down anytime soon. We basically have 7 or 8 games. We basically have around 10 games each month, so basically we're playing every 3 days or so. So it's kind of crazy. The scheduling for the season is kind of crazy, and then obviously we have the Euros coming up. Then we have another season that's the same thing, and then we have the World Cup. It's bro, come on, fam. We have way too many games, bro, and it's just alright. So we need everyone to get into it right away, and we are lucky that we're playing against weaker opponents tomorrow. Obviously, not saying that we're necessarily going to beat them, a high scoring game or anything of that sort. We are going to I can't see us lose. I will say that I can't see us lose, but at least they're playing against weaker opponents, so they can adjust to the team, adjust to the league, and that's going to be very, very key. Next to him predicted is Stiller from FC Bayern 2. Good. Talented, yes. Do I think he's going to make it to the first team? No. I'll say this right away. Stiller is an interesting case where, like, I felt like... Alright. Shoot, how am I going to say this without sounding rude? Alright, I'll try not sound rude here. I felt like there are better options. I feel like there are better options. Stiller, he's going to get his time. He's going to get into the squad. I think he's about 3 years away from really making a place in the team, if he's going to stay that long, of course. But I think he's about 3 to 4 years away from really, you know, being a second option, if you want to call it that. I'm trying to, like, not sound rude here if you can't tell, alright? There are more talented people coming up in the youth. I would say there are more talented people ahead of him as well. So I don't actually know. I'm trying to be as nice as possible here, but I don't actually know if he's gonna have a future at Bayern. Alright, screw it. We're ripping the Band-Aid off. I don't know whether he's gonna have like a long-lasting career at Bayern. How old is he? That's a good question to raise. 19. Alright. But yeah, 19. Am I going to be nice and say, nah, I'm not. I don't. There are people behind him. There are people younger than him that are more talented. And in terms of, like, you know, who he can get past, we have young players ahead of him that are not going to go anywhere. I think in 3 years' time, that's really what I was looking at, the age. Is he going to be here in 3 years' time? I don't know. If he's going to be here in 3 years' time, I think, you know, by the time he's 22, I think he will have a... He will be competing, but is that going to be the case immediately? I don't think so. And for a player that's... I thought he was a bit younger, honestly. I thought he was 18, maybe 17. Then I would have been like, fair enough, he might have a future at Bayern. But like, seeing that he's 19 in 3 years, I don't see him breaking through in the next 3 years where he's going to be like a regular substitute or a regular first teamer. And from that perspective, I don't necessarily think... you know, he's gonna make it. He's not as talented as some other midfielders that we have, such as, for example, Ryan. So is he necessarily gonna make it? I'm not sure. But it's gonna be good to see him play tomorrow against obviously Düren. As I just mentioned, a rather weak team, so we should be beating him. He should be standing out as well. The whole team should be standing out. You know, that's the key thing here. So we'll see how it all pans out. We'll see how it all goes. Then the predicted lineup is Musiala at right wing. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I think Musiala is going to play centrally, which is obviously his position, and I think Muller's going to play on the right wing. I think that's what's going to happen. I might be wrong here. I could be wrong here, most certainly. And I feel like we might go with inverted wingers, actually. I think Kicker might be wrong here. Kicker saying that, like, Musiala on the right, Muller centrally, and Douglas Costa on the left. I think we might actually go with Costa on the right. Considering that Sarri is so offensive and Davies is so offensive, I think just having inverted wingers is going to help quite a lot. So I actually disagree with Kicker's lineup. I think Musiala is going to be either centrally or he's going to be on the left, and Costa's going to be on the right, and Müller is going to be either on the right or centrally. But we're going to be very much interchangeable anyway, so that's fine. Obviously, Costa is back. Yay. I think he's gonna, you know, show his class. Many people are gonna forget his time at Bayern and gonna be like, yeah, you know what, he's absolutely brilliant. Which, you know, all fair play to him. I think he's gonna have a good game tomorrow, and I think he's gonna do very, very well. Same obviously to Müller, who's gonna be captain most likely. I mean, he's gonna be captain. Let's face it. And then we've got the likes of Musiala, who has been excellent. You know, truly excellent at the first team, also at the second team. If you watched the game recently, he was, you know, clamping it up. It was just absolutely amazing. Again, but I feel like he's been proven that not just in the second team, but also in the first team. So we'll see how that all pans out, ladies and gentlemen. And then as a striker, we have Choupo-Moting, who, you know what, fair enough. You know, as a striker, you always want to play against these teams first because you can kind of score a goal or two or get an assist or something, and then like your confidence will be shot up. So from that perspective, I'm all very happy. I'm all, you know, just very much interested to see how we line up tomorrow, if that lineup is right, and then see where we go from there, ladies and gentlemen. But I can't really talk too much about like what I expect from tomorrow's game because I've not seen Düren at all. So from that perspective, you know, we are going to be looking at like our squad instead of our first team, and just from that regard, it's going to be a very interesting game tomorrow. But that is all I have to say, though, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought, what you all think about tomorrow's game. The project that is going on, you know, the Legends project, probably will be delayed by a week or so. Just not feeling all that well, so I don't want to work on that script because I'm actually writing a script for that one, and I just kind of want to like put that off for now. But yeah, from that perspective, I will be seeing all of you in the next one, everyone. Until then, have a nice day, peace out, and